were recording, so you know.
Making sure we're also collecting your biometric information, social security number, you know, the usual things.
He's joking.
Yeah, this is all a joke.
I don't know what that meant. We're gonna just hang in there for one more minute. Are you letting folks in?
I will the second you tell me to.
Yeah, why don't we just let them in and you could let them know on Zoom that we're waiting just a moment? So that they don't disappear.
And people are coming in.
Okay, great.
Hello, people on Zoom, can you hear us? All right, I see some head nods.
Okay, great. Just so you know, I do hold my phone during these things because that's sometimes how we all still communicate about how things are going. Like, oh, the Zoom stopped working or something like that, rather than interrupting everything. So it's a new era where phone attachment is now necessary.
I'll have my phone on me, but it's just to text people.
Mine has everything I don't remember personally, so.
Gustavo's here to keep us all.
Yeah, I was, have you all heard of like personality hires? That's purely me.
Killing it.
He says that, but we like rely on him for everything, so. He's got the full package. Right, I'm gonna just.
I don't need your charger.
Oh, my charger.
Yeah.
My goodness, I don't think I brought my charger. I think it's fully charged, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Okay. Oh, I think folks were in a different location. Welcome.
Sorry about that.
Is your background?
So do you want,
Yes.
hey, do you want us against the wall?
You know what? We're gonna, because the camera is gonna face this way, we'll have you guys here, but we are gonna, everyone's sitting in different spots. So
Okay.
I'll call you up during the panel, but yes.
It sounds great.
D'Angelo, we're gonna need you to run this. Hi, so we had the wrong, did everybody get to a different?
Yeah, we were
spot?
all at FL
The Center
dash
for
one oh
Excellence,
eight.
108.
Yeah,
Over there.
so I think just put a sign up there, because that probably will happen.
Okay. Great.
There's a lot of moving parts to this campus too, so
What a beautiful campus. I hadn't been here before.
it's a beautiful campus.
Feels like there should be more students, like to appreciate it. I thought that. There's not enough people for how beautiful this building is.
It's 108. It
These
sounds
office campuses, you can see it from the freeway.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, there it is. It's like on top of the hill,
yeah,
on Scholar Road.
I know.
All right.
It's gonna get even better, right?
Right?
I know we talked. on the
Yeah, I know.
cues.
People seeing my
That's the only thing I had printed out. Okay, well, did you let everybody know? We're just waiting for? I did. Are we on mute?
Oh, I tried.
Sounds good. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us. We're starting a little late, so my apologies. We had 2 different room numbers, but now we're all here. Hopefully, everyone will be able to find it. We did put a sign up in the other room so that people can make it. But thank you all for taking time out of your busy day on Friday. We really appreciate it. I'm Hillary Tellison, Workforce Project Leader, and you're at the Energy, Construction and Utilities, Water-Related Careers Advisory, our employer advisory. So let's do the next slide. And so for those of you online, thank you for being here. Oh wait, I should do it this way. Okay, so we've got a little bit of housekeeping for those that are on Zoom. You can enable your video camera if you so want to. Please stay on mute unless you're asked a question. Submit all questions and commentary using the chat function. And this meeting will be recorded and will be provided as part of the post-meeting materials. That's right. Everything that we do here today will be up on our website, which is really a great resource for later, or if you meet someone and you want to share with them about what happened today, it's really useful to have it. Is it okay? Okay, thank you. So we can move to the next slide. Okay, so I'm Hillary Tellison, like I said, Workforce Project Leader from Valley Vision. Liz Kilkenny is our project associate. She is right there. She's helped coordinate this whole event. She's been part of our communications and everything. It's been fabulous working with her. So I want to say thank you to her. And I want to let you guys know that if you are not familiar with Valley Vision, I'm not going to change slides just yet. Valley Vision is a nonprofit civic leadership organization that's tackling some of the largest issues in our area to make sure that we have the most livable future possible. One of our impact areas is the 21st century workforce impact area. And that's what we're here to discuss today is workforce. Connecting and alignment, that's what Valley Vision does. Valley Vision is connecting and aligning the interests of the industry, as well as educational and career technical education program designers. So, next slide. I want to say thank you to the planning committee. We've got Dr. Shinder Gill, Steve Blumenstein, who I think is probably zooming in. He was instrumental in this Water Advisory Careers Committee. Jessica Charney is the Employer Engagement Specialist at Cosumnes River College. And I didn't say Dr. Shinder Gill's title, which is Interim Dean of Workforce Development. Thank you so much for all of your guidance and help on this advisory. Next slide. And also, before we get started, I want to thank all of our sponsors. These are people who have sponsored every advisory over the years, and we would not be able to do the work we're doing without their contributions and their support. Okay, so next slide.
Can anyone see the slides on the virtual?
We are currently working on it.
Okay.
Should be able to see it now.
Can they see them now?
Yes, just now. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. Wow, that's so cool. The voices come right. I feel like you're all right here with us. So that's a nice Halloween treat for us. So here's the agenda we're going to review with you today. Again, we are doing a hybrid meeting, so that comes with a lot of bumps and jumps in the road. So bear with us as we're trying to make sure that everyone has access to this information and this advisory. So we've got our welcome and introduction. We've got our first keynote speaker is the holistic approach to workforce development in the water sector. And we have the next generation career pathways after that. And then we'll have a labor market trend analysis, a panel discussion, and then a conclusion. And that's what's happening today. We're almost making up on time there. Let's go to the next slide. Fabulous. So I would like to introduce Ramzi Mahmood. He's our first keynote speaker, and you've got about 10 to 12 minutes, and then giving time for Q&A afterwards. So Ramzi Mahmood, he's joined the Faculty of Civil Engineering in 1994. In 1997, he became the executive director of the Office of Water Programs, OWP, the largest developer and provider of training materials for water and wastewater treatment plant managers and operators in the United States, and the largest self-supported applied research program in the CSU system. In 2003, Dr. Mahmood was elected the department chair for civil engineering. He served as the interim dean of the College of Engineering and Computer Science in 2014. From 2010 through 2015, Dr. Mahmood volunteered as an expert for the UNESCO project on developing capacity for the quality of higher education in Iraq. Since 2015, he has been focused on updating the training manuals with full attention into the design and content that focuses on effective learning with up-to-date content and consistent math approach. Thank you so much for joining us. Ramsey, I was going to have you sit. You can take turns. You can kind of do a little bit of what I'm doing if you want to. Just know that the Zoom folks are looking at you on the camera there.
As long as there's no podium, I'm good.
Okay.
And the water shooter.
So the camera is here.
That is the camera, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, go.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so let's see. There's no need to talk about my program because I was planning to talk about it. That's the commercial part. It's done. Thank you, Hillary. Let me get into it. You know, when I used to talk to students when they come in civil engineering, that's what we do. So I talk about when I used to run on a bike trail. That's a long story, different story, but when I used to run. So I go and I see that water fountain, okay? That's confusing just to turn around and look at my eye. Hold on. So I see that water fountain and without hesitation, I go to it, I take a sip, and I am not concerned I'll get sick, and nothing happens. Of course, I continue. But this is unique. Most of the world, they don't have that luxury. So, and the problem is most of us don't even know what's going on. You know, people who planned it, people who designed it, people who continue to operate these things 24/7. We expect everything is clean, everything works. Now, who does that? And that's our problem. So now, let's take the current condition. Silver tsunami that the people talk about. I'm a good example of it, if you look around, okay? A lot of people, bunch of us, are planning to retire in a time frame maybe 5 to 10 years. And there's this big gap, compounded with, I don't know if you lately looked for people, hiring people, but it's really difficult. You know, I mean, we opened a position for research engineer, 0 applicant. 0. So, and we closed the position. So it has been challenging. So therefore, we cannot leave it on chance. And that's what I'm talking about, chance. Meaning, I have a story, short one, okay? I used to survey students. Why did you pick up civil engineering? That's an example, because that's my field. And I hear all kinds of stories, but something that's unique that stayed with me. She told me that she was babysitting for this couple who happened to be civil engineers. And I said, oh, this is cool. I want to be civil engineer. And she did civil engineering. And she is successful. Now, I consider that's a chance, right? You know a neighbor, you know someone in the family that talk about the field, and you say, oh, it's interesting, I go to it. It needs a system. It needs something that we can work with. That's really the challenge that we have. Next slide, please. Another one. Another one. One. Oops, you jumped too quickly. Go back. One. Oh, okay. The animation is not working. It's fine. Go back, please, on the main one. So let's talk about that. You know, in my mind, you know, we have really 5 components. And I consider that like a chain. If we break one, we're not doing it as a system. So the first one is how can we create interest in people who can know about this field? This field is so wide. I mean, it will take me days to talk about the specialties that you need in this field. So create that interest. So we use a water term, we have to go upstream, right? So that means even the middle school. Okay, what are we talking about? Education and outreach. I've been in this business for a long time. And we always talk about workforce development, but really we are at a stage now, we need a system. So when I talk about outreach and education, it needs to be formalized by collectively us in the field, not by single interest, you know? And that's really the difficult. We have to go to the middle school, we have to go to high schools. We have to create some programs that at least piques the interest of young people to say, this is a field, not leave it to chance. The next one, of course, the next chain is education and training programs. That's the field I am in, training. So, and education, of course. Then, and that's available, but people need to know these pathways. Which way? What do I need to do? What are the requirements? And so on. And then the key element, you go up step on the next chain, is hands-on experience. This is where things break down. Because as I told you, I've been in this field for a long time. Actually, that's a crucial step because we tried workforce development, and when we reach to that point, because let's imagine that we have people who are interested and they get into some kind of training or education, they need that hands-on experience. But what happened is after we met with a number of utilities, it was difficult to create these internships. Now, my small center, there are 50 of us professionals. We have currently 27 students in different fields, you name it, graphic design, engineers, of course, computer science, communication studies, 27 of them, okay? And I'm delighted to have them with us because, and guess what? When they really finish the work that they are doing with us, they find excellent jobs. You know, the world is open for them because they see all kinds of potential. And that's where collectively the utilities and water area fails, actually, if I say that. The Baywork is a good example of making it work. Utilities collectively get together because it needs to be part of the budget. It needs to be part of the planning, and it needs to be there consistently, whether you need people or you do not, because it serves the whole community. And that's really the weakness. And of course, the next step is the certification or diploma or some kind of credentials where it says you're qualified, you will do a professional job, and that's of course needed and expected. And finally, of course, the jobs and so on, which in my view, we have a lot of it. It's just we need to find that pathway. So I hope I did well with time. I can tell you more stories, but thank you very much for listening.
That's great. Before you sit down, I just want to see if there's any questions that anyone
Yes.
has for Ramsey, either in the room or on the chat.
Sure.
So also just incubate, think about it.
I have a question to your point about the student school engagement. Love the middle school. I work with Sac City Unified and we're working on middle school labs for career technical education. What does that look like currently as far as engagement with high schools and middle schools?
It's, in my view, it's scattered. We tried to do some of it. Actually, we reached to a point where we were trying to create some kind of academy. I hired a full-time person who's no longer with us. She is still in the field, but she tried. There were a lot of resistance in schools in terms of creating some curriculum. And that's really the difficulty, the challenge, is how would you allow students to know this field. I give you an example. In Hiram Johnson, many, many years ago, they had a transportation academy, I think they called it. And that, in my view, that was a successful program. At that time, I was department chair, so I was involved in that a little bit. So they teach, for example, physics in a context of transportation, because they, you know, so whatever they pick in terms of fields, they bring the context. And I believe, since I've been in teaching business for a long time, it's really, the context is so important, because you can teach, for example, you can teach math, and I see it in my grandkids, they get bored. But if you provide that context, they will see, oh, okay, this can work. This is not just an abstract thing that we have to go through. So yeah, I think some kind of curriculum academy will be excellent opportunity for students just to open their eyes.
Any questions coming online? Okay.
One, I'm just amazed that an office of 50 has 27 interns.
Oh, thank you.
Now, how do you do it?
Yes.
I'm just picturing my time
Yeah,
and my work with student health.
Yeah.
It takes planning, I'm gonna
Yeah.
assume on your part,
Yeah.
and you didn't do it instantly.
absolutely. And I'm glad you asked that question, because you know, from my involvement with UNESCO and so on, I talk about evolution and change in culture. You know, the first time I proposed, let's hire a student or two, many, many years ago when we started, and some people came to me and said, well, how can we keep them busy? And I said, well, if we have them here, we'll figure it out. You know, so we started with a small number. That's one. We, part of our office, what we do, we develop the training manuals and update them. So there we need a lot of graphic design and students to help us to do that. That's one. And we have 3 graphic designers that basically supervise a student and give them a project. So that's an example. We have a lot of programmers. We need a lot of programming, because we are funded to do applied research type projects. So the Water Board, for example, funds us to do a lot of work in different areas. And that's where we actually need students. We develop databases, we develop interactive systems in terms of on the web systems that people need to input data and so on. So we have a variety of projects that we put students on. And of course, always we have a professional that's overseeing the project. So yeah, it's people get surprised. I'm glad you asked that question, but if you figure out a way, the students are amazing. I mean, to me, I look at it as, oh my goodness, you know, they get involved in all kinds of projects that we do. Yeah.
So you're the head of the Office of Water Programs for Sac State, and when the students get certificates, are you working with the local agencies of where they can go to jobs?
No, we
no?
do not. We, what we do, our courses are correspondence courses, and online, we have some online
Right.
courses. Usually what happens is the state certification offices in California, for example, we have it with the state board, right? So usually they have the requirements. We meet the education requirement. They take our courses, and then when we issue a continuing education unit, they need to go to their agency so that they can sit in an exam to be certified to get their license. So that's really the process. It varies from state to state. That's why we don't get involved in the details. We say, go to your state, figure it out. It's in our books. So they have a map where it maps what the state agency require into our books. And in addition to the state, there are associations, AWWA, Cal Nevada, they have their own certification, and CWA, they have their own certification. So in certain areas, that's the certifying entity or organization.
Wonderful. In the interest of time, I'm going to start this second keynote, but if there are more questions, you can send them to us, we can send them to Ramsey and keep the conversation and dialogue going. So thank you so much for that. Our second keynote address is from Patrice McElroy. And she is a human resource leader with over 25 years of experience in leading human resources departments and creating workforce programs that focus on building community partnerships that expand the knowledge and opportunities within the infrastructure, including the water industry. The human resource field is her passion, and she is always committed to working with an agency dedicated to creating an environment where their employees can excel. She started her professional career in the Bay Area with the Bay Area Rapid Transit District, or BART, as many of us probably wrote that, where she led the development and implementation of a workforce development division award that included a $750,000 grant from the Federal Transit Association. More recently, in 2022, she moved to Valley Water, where she led the creation of the Next Generation Career Pathways program focused on creating employment pathways for local students from underrepresented communities. I know that Patrice is joining us online, so I'm going to.
Hello.
Oh, so we got to make sure we spotlight her. You got it?
Can you hear me?
We sure
Good.
can.
Oh, good. Thank you. Oh, and I see myself. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I think I have to really thank Valley Vision, because this was such just that vision and foresight. You have Mr. Mahood. Oh, I'm messing up the name and I apologize. And I'm going to say Mahmoud. Is that correct? Please correct me. And he's talking about one of the passions that I have, and that is getting kids, or getting our young adults and our children excited about the water industry and careers in the water industry. And he's talking about the research. And then I'm actually on the other end saying, yes, I agree with you. I want all those students, because I know that they are going to be the next generation of water industry professionals. So I'm so excited. I don't see my slides, and I don't know if you have them up.
Hold on 1 second. We're getting it loaded.
Okay, because if not, boy, am I going to be really flying blind here. So really, I think you hear the research, and I want to share a little bit about the practical. And it's really, truly, it's so true. When I saw your last slide of how do you connect those students, those young adults, to positions, to careers in the water industry. And that's my goal as a practitioner. So today I'm going to talk about really we have our Next Gen Career Pathways program. I'm going to focus on our internship, but I'm going to share with you information about our actual career pathways, Next Gen Career Pathways program. Next slide. So today we're going to dig in about the overall Next Generation program that we have, and then we're going to give you an overview of our internships, our Discover Water internships overview, and then our college internships overview, and then career pathways. How early career pathways? What are we doing at Valley Water to ensure that what Mr. Mahood is saying is true? How do you get students excited about water, excited about positions and the industry of water? And then I'll have questions if you have any for me. So the next slide. So we started this out. We have an internship program, and we've had it. It's one of our pillar programs, but literally we wanted to expand out. I came to the industry, to Valley Water a little over a year ago in June. So I'm going on my second year now. And we really wanted to utilize, how do we ensure that we have diversity, equity, and inclusion, with the goal of reaching out to as many individuals as we can and offer them opportunity. So we really wanted to ensure we did that. We used the California Urban Water Agency's CUA, their diversity and equity and inclusion toolkit, really that says best practices for expanding DEI efforts in the industry is to obtain one homegrown talent and diversity, to expand our programs and outreach across our community and collaborate with our partners. He said, we mentioned Bayworks. That is a big collaborator for us. That's one of our partners. And we are actually doing more in our industry to ensure that we collaborate. Next slide. So our Valley Waters Next Gen program provides a valuable opportunity for students and recent graduates who are interested in pursuing careers in the water industry. Components include hands-on experience, work on real projects, and collaboration with industry professionals. We have access to a range of resources and support services, including professional development workshops, networking events, and mentorship opportunities. That is our goal. The program is open to individuals at different stages of their careers. So you'll see some high schools that's not even thinking about their high school students who's not even really thinking about the careers. That's where we want to get them because we want them to look at water, including recent graduates and professionals who are interested in advancing their careers in the water industry. We are also looking at those who are looking at changing. They may be in one area and decide, I want to move into water, and we're ready for them. Next slide. So if you would look, our pathway programs, it's 4 pillars, and we have our Wonder of Waters, our Discover Valley Water, our Water Works, and our Water Educators. So we'll go with first to really talk about our Wonders of Water program. Our Wonders of Water program is a high school intern program, and it supports education in employment areas with relevant to Valley Water, such as engineering, metals, technologies, water distributions, with career technical educational trade school partners by providing high school students year-round and summer internship opportunities. We're really focusing on it. We focus with schools that already have those programs, and we invite them in. And we just started this program. We're in our 2nd year and very, very excited about expanding that program. The next program that we have is our Water Works program. Our Water Works program is this program we are still working on this program. And let me tell you, we're so excited. This program is about getting those college students who are at community college and assisting them with stipends, with resources as they go into the 4-year colleges. We notice that, when they're in those 2-year colleges and they have to expand out into those 4 years, a lot of times the financial aspect is daunting, and our goal is to help them with stipends as they are moving into those 4-year colleges, but also bringing them in, giving them information about workshops and curriculums that will help them just kind of bridge that gap into Valley Waters or the water industry. And then we have our Discover Valley Water program. Our Discover Valley Water program is a unique program that we created this year. This builds on a 12-year program that we have, and that is our internship program, one of Valley Waters' pivotal or pillar internship programs. We have normally 50 students that come in for 3 months out of the summer to actually learn about careers at Valley Water and get paid while they're doing the work. Well, we actually expanded that efforts and actually engage with diverse school communities to attract underrepresented groups to our stable and lucrative careers. It is our goal to increase fairness and equity in hiring outcomes and produce a more diverse workforce that reflects the communities we serve. That's so important. We want Valley Water, the way you look at us, we want us to be a kind of a mirror of our community. And so that is one of the efforts. We had additional 10 more. So last year, this past summer, we actually had 60 interns. And then we have our water educators. Our water educator training is it fosters the connection with local high schools, community colleges, and career technical educators to provide educator professional development training. So and it aims to modify their existing curriculum to meet the standards of entry-level positions. So really what we wanted to do is when you bring an educator in the room and you educate them, then their ability to touch their 30, 60, 90 students, you just have an extension, just so much more opportunity to impact the community of our young adults, of our high school students, so that they can learn about not only Valley Water, but they can learn about positions and areas in the infrastructure of the water industry. So those are our 4 pillars, and that's what we are really looking to expand. We have 3 Wonders of Water, Discover Valley Water, and water educators that are well off the ground. We're moving forward with them. Our last one, which is our Waterworks, which is our college stipend, the goal is that's going to be implemented by the first of the next calendar year. And so we are working on rolling that out now. Next slide. So a little bit about our positions and our interns. And again, goal in this section with the previous panel member and then myself, presenter, and then myself. It's about how do you engage students to ensure that you're giving them on experience, you're engaging them so that they can move into those careers. And so we really first you see the outreach. We do go to community colleges, universities. We work with disadvantaged student college resource groups, tribal universities, high school internships. So our reach is very broad and wide. And then our internships, we have a number of 3 different really areas that we're looking at. The college summer internship program, we have a summer internship that's 3 months, but we'll talk a little bit more because we actually sometimes have opportunities for extended internships. So if someone is in school, they can actually work and have a year-round internship opportunity. We have our college skilled trades. So we understand not everybody is going to go to a 4-year college. We understand that. So we connect with Gavilan College with our water resources, and we want to expand that. We are looking at expanding to pre-apprenticeship programs, apprenticeship programs. We are trying to get engaged students and our young people at every single level. So that's one of the programs. The other one is our Waterworks College Stipend Program. I mentioned that already, that we are really working to get that off the ground because we find that people who are in the community colleges, to jump from a community college to a 4-year college is daunting. And it is our goal at Valley Water to help with that and then engage those students to actually be really interested and expand in the water resources area. You can be in human resources and be in water, in the water industry. You can be in marketing and being in the water industry. So we're not just saying our civil engineers, although that's what we want, and we want our other specialists, maintenance, we have those, but we also have media. We have a lot of positions at Valley Water, and we're interested in engaging students for all of them. And then you'll see our early career programs. Those 3 programs are our fellows programs, our apprenticeship programs. And then for our temporary employment, we may have a need for that extra help. And a lot of times we look at recent college students to say, hey, do you have some time to come in and do temporary employment? That gets their experience up and then they're engaged because the goal is regular employment. And even if we don't have the position here at Valley Water, the goal is to train professionals. That's our goal, so that they could be viable in any area of the water industry. So next slide. So here you'll see local colleges and universities with water career related majors. What we wanted to do was research all the colleges that were in our area and around our area to see where could we focus our advertisement and where could we focus all of our energy and connect and partner with as we are thinking about our interns and all of our programs. We expand the outreach efforts and actively engage with diverse schools and communities to attract underrepresented groups to our stable and lucrative careers. It is our goal to increase fairness and equity in hiring outcomes and produce a more diverse workforce that reflects the communities we serve. So if you'll see every single one of those colleges, whether they are all the way off the charts in terms of their curriculum or they have just a little bit like Chabot College, we still want to engage them. We want to engage all of them. If you saw in the previous slide, we had an outreach called Handshake. That's what colleges use, and we use that so we can go out and actually let those students in colleges know we have opportunities, and we're upping the game on that. We would start a little later, like in January, advertising our internship positions, but now we are advertising now in November. We're starting as early as possible. And we still think we're a little bit behind the 8 ball because something like Google, they've already started. So we don't want people to go. We don't mind Google. We think that's a great opportunity, but we want those college students to come to Valley Water as well. Next slide. This one just shows you, it goes deeper into those categories of college interns that we have at Valley Water. The college internship, summer internship is 3 months. So it's from June to September. And sometimes we have 2 tracks. We have those who are on the semester track. They may come in a little later, and we have those that are on the semester and then the quarter track. And we have both tracks, and we have opportunities for both of them. And we do a lot of focused projects. Our mentors love the fact that they come in because they will save up a project that's for those interns, and the interns feel like they are actually doing the work. We have not as many, we have college year-round internships. So our 3 months, we're about 60 interns that come in. We don't have as many that are year-round. I would say we have 20, 25, at the most the 30s that will come in for the year-round, and that's based on the needs of Valley Water, of the department. But we have them here in Human Resources, and they actually assist with managing our internship program, which is an intern talking to an intern. It is so great for advertisement and connection. And then we have our College Skilled trade internships, and that is a rolling one, and that's we have with Gavilan College. Again, we're looking at other colleges as well, but they come in and learn water resources, and then they move out and hopefully become, if not with Valley Water, positions within Valley Water, positions within the water industry. Next slide. Our early career pathways, we have fellowship and apprenticeship programs. We're really focused on that right now, upping our apprenticeship programs and establishing with the state of California true apprenticeship programs for our water utilities. And then we also have fellowship programs. Those are non-technical programs that we have that we allow for employees. They come in as a fellow, and the goal is they come in as a fellow and then they move up and they're actually given positions. So we're training our new professionals so that they can eventually come into a position within Valley Water. And then we have, as I stated, temporary employees that come in as interns, and they can convert to temporary employees and then move into fellows positions or move into entry-level positions. So that really is all of the work that we're doing at Valley Water. But the goal is workforce development is the key. How do we ensure that Valley Water has positions and we are good for the future? It's working with our high schools, our colleges, and providing programs so that eventually our young adults and our high school students, young adult students can actually learn about the water industry, be interested, and be employed by that. Because I feel those are our next CEOs, our next department deputies, our next anything and everything that we're doing for Valley Water. Thank you.
I think there are, am I muted or am I on?
No. You should be good.
Okay, great. Patrice, I think there were two questions on the chat, which we'd like to make sure we staying engaged with that group. So why don't we ask those two, and then we're gonna actually take a small break after that because we have some technical stuff we need to iron out real quick. But can we get the two questions that are online or in the chat?
The first one's from Sue Murphy asking, how many employees does Valley Water have?
Valley Water has a little over 900 employees. So we are a large organization, a big organization when it comes to water, the water industry.
The next question is from Steve Blumenstein. Can you speak more about the very high number of related majors at these schools? E.g., majors that include at least one or some water-related courses, or is there more to it than that?
No, I think that is what you've said. I think it was Steve. When we looked at the research, we said, and it was when it says related, a water related, we looked at our watersheds and our water utilities. If it's mechanics, if it's maintenance, can it cross over? We even looked at if it's electrical. We looked at that because we need electricians and electrical maintenance workers at Valley Water. We looked at civil engineering and our engineering. We also looked at planning because we have a lot of planners. So we did look at kind of all of the curriculum, but within the curriculum, what actually related to us. So we were very broad with that, and that's how we got that broad list of colleges. Hope that answers that question.
Okay, next slide. Patrice, thank you so much. And we will collect any more questions if they're in the chat or in person, and we'll make sure we get them to you so that they can be answered. If we could just take a small break, I'm going to say like 3 to 4 minutes for us to iron out. There's something going on with the speaker. We want to make sure that everybody's hearing everything okay. So for those of you online, is there anything else, Liz? Okay, great. So give us like 3 to 4 minutes. If you're online, we'll be, let's see what time it is right now, 2:16. We'll be back by 2:20.
Some singles.
here. I'm gonna just unmute. Can everyone hear us online?
Wait a quick thumbs up if you can hear us. Yep, we got a thumbs up.
Okay, great. Good news. I can have folks in the room sit back down. Can we get the next slide? The next portion, the second half of this event will be the labor market analysis and then an employer panel discussion that'll close us out. Ebony Bensing from the Center of Excellence. Hold on, I have her full title here. So we have a short video from Ebony Bensing. She's the interim director of the North Center of Excellence for Labor Market Research, hosted by Los Rios Community College District. Ebony and the Center of Excellence provide labor market data for every one of our industry sector concentrations. And so unfortunately, she could not be here today, but she made a short video for us going over the most current job postings data. So we're going to just queue up the video that she made for us. There it is.
My name is Ebony Bensing, and I'm the Director for the North Rios Center of Excellence for Labor Market Research. I'm joining you today at the ECU Regional Advisory Meeting through this video to provide some labor market information about water careers and green Sacramento. So first up, let's talk a little bit about the Center of Excellence, who we are and what we do. There are 9 centers and 1 statewide center that serve the entirety of the state. And our collective mission is to provide labor market information and other related analysis to support the development of career education programs in California community colleges. We usually do this by looking at data from industry and businesses, occupations, and job postings to answer 3 primary questions. First, what is the employment outlook for students who participate in our career education programs? Second, what skills and credentials do students or adult learners need to be able to step into a job in our local labor market? And lastly, what programs look right for investment for the community colleges? Today, we're going to look at water careers. Now, when I first was asked to put together a presentation about jobs in water, my first thought was, that's a really broad category. There's so many different jobs. I really wasn't sure what our primary focus should be. Luckily, one of the employer panelists suggested that I take a look at the California Water Environment Association website, or CWEA. Now, CWEA is an advocacy group, and their primary mission is to get people into water-related jobs. They happen to post a job board online, which had 191 water-related job postings from all of California. I was able to analyze the job postings to help focus this presentation. I was able to determine who are the employers, what roles or key roles were they hiring for, and based off of that information, what seems to be a high priority and what could potentially be a high priority for our region. Now, I'm looking at the CWEA data, and I broke the job postings first into different types of agencies that were looking to hire for water-related jobs. About 90% of the job postings came from 3 specific types of agencies: special water districts, city utility or public works departments, and environmental districts. The remaining 1% of job postings came from the state water board, educational institutions, and water talent, which is a staffing organization that's focused on placing people in water-related jobs. This table also provides some Sacramento-specific examples of each of these different types of agencies and includes Sacramento Area Flood Control Agency, Sacramento Suburban Water District, the City of Woodland as an example of a city utility or public works department, and the State Water Resources Board. Now, since we know who the employers are, we're able to align employers to industry, which is really important so that I can pull data to take a look at job counts in these spaces.
The industries that align best with these agencies include state government, local government, water supply and irrigation systems, and sewage treatment facilities. We're also able to analyze job titles to figure out, hey, what seems to be pressing in terms of occupations for demand. Of the 191 job postings, they primarily fell into about 10 different categories, with the first 4 being the focus of this presentation. The last 6 are included in that other space. Now, the top 4 categories were operations, engineering, maintenance, and electrical and instrumentation. These are our top 4 categories based off of the number of job postings that fell into each of these categories. From these categories and with their examples of job titles is able to determine which occupations best align to these categories. And those occupations highlighted in yellow on the right-hand side of the screen are going to be the focus of our data. Now we're going to take a look at industry data related to water industries in Greater Sacramento. Now, from the CWEA job postings, I was able to identify 4 key industries, which included both state and local government, and then water supply and irrigation systems and sewage treatment facilities to bring into this industry analysis. Also, back in March 2023, the COE released a statewide water wastewater report, which identified 3 other industries that seem to fit really well in this analysis. And those industries include water and sewer line and related structures construction, other heavy and civil engineering construction, and site preparation contractors. Now, the numbers on the right-hand side of the screen, they do not include state or local government job counts. And the reason for this is that in Sacramento, state and local government tends to kind of take up a lot of space in our job market. And I didn't really want the activity that was happening in those 2 industries to drown out what's happening in these other 5 key water industries. Now, there is a place for having an analysis of those, but I think that analysis needs to happen kind of elsewhere and outside the confines of this presentation for it to be a little bit more meaningful and for us to be able to also just focus some additional attention on these 5 key industries. Now, for the 5 industries that I've already mentioned, there are about 7,150 jobs in Greater Sacramento in 2022. These jobs are projected to increase by 12% over the next 5 years, adding more than 850 jobs to the subregion by 2027. We also identified nearly 400 businesses in these 5 industries. Up next, we're going to take a look at labor market information for specific water careers. And when I say specific water careers, what I mean is specific water-related occupations. And those occupations were identified using the job postings from the CWEA website. Now, the table here shows the demand for what I'm calling critical water occupations across the Greater Sacramento region. The numbers that are here represent all jobs across all industries in our region. So these job counts are not just specific to water industries, but encompass all of the industries because workers in these occupations can be employed in different industries. Now, overall, there were about 20,000 jobs in these 5 different occupations across Greater Sacramento in 2022. These jobs are projected to increase by 14% over the next 5 years, and there will be more than 2,600 job openings each year for the next 5 years. Most of the jobs among these 5 critical water occupations are concentrated in 2 categories: the electrical and instrumentation category and the maintenance category. The occupational category with the fastest projected growth is the electrical and instrumentation category, with a projected job growth rate of 17% between 2022 and 2027. And then most job openings for these occupations fall in the maintenance group, specifically the maintenance and repair workers, with 1,200 annual job openings over the next 5 years. Wages are pretty good for these occupations, and they either nearly meet or exceed the regional living wage for a single working adult in our region, which is currently $18.72 per hour. Entry-level wages happen to be highest for water and wastewater operators at $30.50 per hour. In terms of demographics, a typical worker in a water career falls between the ages of 25 and 44 years old, is white, and is a male. The water workforce looks to have a slightly higher than average retirement risk at 27% of workers aged 55 years or older. And this is compared to the Sacramento average of about 24%. The workforce also tends to be less diverse, both in terms of race and ethnicity and in gender. And with this less diversity happening, these represent some opportunities to meet the increasing demand among these occupations by bringing in workers from underrepresented backgrounds. Now, at this point of my presentations, I usually do a job postings analysis, but when I was looking at the job postings for this, there was kind of some different or a little funky things kind of happening. First, there weren't a lot of job postings that were coming from my 5 specific water industries. And those industries were, again, water supply and irrigation, sewage treatment, water and sewer line related construction, heavy and civil engineering construction, and then site preparation. I had fewer than 200 job postings. Now, the reason for that could be that either one, it's kind of difficult to tag job postings at a very detailed industry level. So oftentimes these job postings get rolled up into a higher level of industry coding, or they weren't just coded at all. So instead of looking at top employers, top job titles, we're just going to focus in on the skills. Now, this chart here shows the top skills in each of the occupational categories for our 5 key water industries. The occupational categories that we're looking at are electrical and instrumentation, maintenance, and operations, which really focuses in on that one water and wastewater operator position. You also see the number of job postings that were found for each of these categories in those 5 key industries. In terms of what I'm seeing here, this all seems to be fairly representative of what I'd expect to see for these jobs in these industries. So there's nothing too surprising here. So for the last part of my presentation, we're just going to take a look at community college training programs. Now, some of you may be wondering why I'm only focusing on community college training programs at this point. The statewide COE Water Wastewater Industry Report found that community colleges account for 71% of the supply from educational institutions across the state. And then when I look further into our region, what's happening in these different training pathways, community colleges are typically the only training provider for most of these occupational pathways, with the exception of electricians. There's a couple of different electrical programs in our region, and that includes the ITAP program, as well as a program at Intercoast Colleges in Rancho Cordova. Now, this chart shows the different types of programs that are available at our community colleges for each of the 5 water occupations. One thing I want you to make a note of here is in that blue column for maintenance and repair workers, there are no community college training programs focused on that occupation. For my second to last slide, here we have a chart comparing demand and supply for these water occupations. When comparing demand, which is average annual job openings, to supply, which is the average annual awards issued and the pathways that align to each of these occupations, we see that there is an undersupply of skilled workers in each of these 5 occupations. The gaps are most noticeable in the middle of the chart with 3 occupations: electricians, industrial machinery mechanics, and maintenance and repair workers. These gaps represent opportunities to expand or create new training pathways that will increase supply in these critical areas. I want to point out that electricians is particularly important to increase supply because not only are electricians important in the water industry, they're also important related to any changes related to green jobs and as we move towards decarbonization efforts in our region. So this concludes my presentation. Thank you so much for your time. I'm sorry I wasn't able to join you there in person. I hope that the rest of your day goes really well and that you found this information useful. If you happen to have any questions, feel free to reach out to me through email. I'd also like to encourage you to take a look at the California Workforce Needs Report for the water wastewater industry, which is hosted on the COE website at this link. All right, that's it. Thank you. Bye. Good afternoon. My name is Ebony Joy Benz. Good afternoon. My name is Ebony.
Oh, was I unmute the whole time?
We're good now.
Okay, so, thank you to Ebony. I'm just saying that because I was muted before. We're collecting any questions from those of you online, that we can share with Ebony. And she will, respond to you on anything you have on the labor market data. One of the things I was saying is we couldn't answer the questions right now, but Ebony sure can. So if you have any, you can put them in the chat. And with that said, yes.
I had one only because I'm always interested in how they're broken down. One of the items was there was no training for maintenance. For that, I'm curious what the definition is because at Sacramento City College, I run an industrial maintenance and mechanic technician program. I'm really curious about what the differentiation is because there's not much difference when we really think about what they're doing. Maintenance is often maintenance of the same, it's just a different field. So it was striking not to see it there. So I'm always curious how it gets broken out.
Yeah, we can definitely share. That's her, why that program might not be making it into this slide. Were you guys able to capture that question?
Yeah.
I have a question.
Oh, yes. I forgot what your name is.
Richard Gentry, Sacramento City College chair,
I know I have.
MET.
Yeah, you know, somewhere. Samantha?
I noticed that the workforce data was focused on the crafts and trades, and I'm wondering, with you, Ramsey, as well, where the water resources engineers would fit in there. Because we can't forget civil engineering as a key occupational area in the water industry.
That would make.
Did you hear that question?
I'm so sorry. No. Where are the water resources engineers? Okay, got you.
And,
Thank you.
My guess would be that their focus was on those entry level positions, that's, I'll let her respond to the question, so. Yes.
I had a question about, she said she took out like the local government and state government, so I was just kind of curious to see those numbers. Because I know those are our hard to fill positions are exactly in line with her lines up there, so just kind of curious about.
Yeah, that'll be good, especially since we're getting questions from folks that are on the panel. I might just have you guys move on up because that's one of the questions is on labor market data. Were there any questions in the chat? Did you make sure okay.
Questions?
We'll move on to the panel discussion and then we can make sure, Michelle, that I'll handle, like, we'll get that, hopefully that information captured with that LMI question. So if you guys could come up here, because this is where the camera is, you can see, yeah, so there's 4 panel guests. And, yep, there's a sit right on up here.
Back to the.
I know, it's a little, there are rolling chairs, so. A roll, we do like a real, this is very, modern. We're gonna have a modern panel. It's like caring about our in-person audience and our online.
Right.
Fabulous.
There.
Okay, so we've got a great panel here today. I first want to thank everybody on the panel for the taking time out of their busy day to come and speak with us. We are fortunate to have some folks from the public sector and the private sector, and I'm going to introduce them all now. We have Nicole Morgan, who is appointed as the civil engineer to the State Water Resources Control Board by Governor Gavin Newsom in June 2021. Ms. Morgan most recently served as an assistant deputy director in the State Water Resources Control Board's Division of Financial Assistance, where she worked on projects providing funding for drinking water, wastewater, stormwater, and groundwater infrastructure improvements. During this time, Ms. Morgan also managed a variety of additional programs, including the Lead in Child Care Center's Fish Advisories. Thank you. And drinking water and wastewater operator certification programs. Thank you, Nicole, so much for being here. And we have Carrie Shively, excuse me. Thank you. She is a senior vice president with Stantec, responsible for marketing, business development, and growth within the company's water business line. Stantec is a global consultancy with 26,000 engineers, scientists, planners, and other professionals that have been providing creative, collaborative solutions to California's water needs for more than 70 years. In her current position, Carrie leads strategy and business development, working to connect clients, experts, and communities to help identify sustainable solutions for our toughest water challenges. Carrie strongly believes that effective teams reflect the communities in which they live and work, and that having diverse minds at the table helps us craft the best possible solutions. Michelle Chapman, support service manager. Ms. Chapman has over 23 years of experience in the field of human resources, culminating in her current role as support service manager with the City of Sacramento Department of Utilities. Ms. Chapman is an advocate for career entry points, such as internships and apprenticeship opportunities for people just beginning or changing.
You can sit there for the camera.
Thank you. Okay, for changing careers. Ms. Chapman continued her career development pathway by transferring to the City of Sacramento Department of Utilities, where she led the development of administrative roles and personnel selection processes. Known for her steadiness, she leads with understanding, patience, and sincerity. She encourages her staff to be team players and support one another in reaching the department's strategic goals and directives. And Samantha Blackwood, who was our first person who agreed to be on the panel, and so, yeah, thank you for that light for us, is the talent manager for the Department of Water Resources and has worked in the water sector for close to 15 years. She has done everything from working as an environmental scientist for UC Davis to becoming a human resource manager for the state of California. Although those two worlds could not seem farther apart, whether it is through science or by working with people, Ms. Blackwood aims to make California a better place to live and work. Fabulous. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to try and guys move this way. And I would like to ask you guys to please provide a brief overview of your business, your role, and the size of your workforce. I think I let you guys know. Everyone's going to get an opportunity to answer each question. If we start getting short on time, I might be like, make it as fast as we can, but we've got time now. I'm gonna have Samantha start us off.
Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so I work for the California Department of Water Resources, which I feel more comfortable standing, so I'm gonna do that.
That's great.
We are one of the largest suppliers of water in the state. We supply water to 2/3 of California's population. Would anyone like to take a guess at how many millions of Californians that would be? Yeah.
I know the answer, but
I know
that's
you know
not
the
fair.
answer. 40 million. So in addition to that, we also buy, generate, sell, and trade electricity. Because we also own and operate 5 or 4, depending on if you just count our pumping plant, hydroelectric power plants in the state, which we all know that green renewable energy is a huge deal for our state. We also do environmental stewardship, we distribute grant funds, and we do water education. Our workforce is about 3,500 employees, sorry. Okay.
I'm
it's
really
like
sorry, I was
doing good.
thinking-
Okay, it's about 3,500 employees, but we have just as many contractors and consultants. So even though that's, how many permanent full-time employees have, we actually have more work than we have positions. And so, we have more money than we have, people to hire, and it's a good problem to have. And so we hire contractors and consultants. So we're really looking at about like 7,000 folks to do this for the state of California.
Fabulous.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicole?
So, hi, so I work for the State Water Resources Control Board, the sister agency to the Department of Water Resources, and many often get us confused.
Yes, they do.
So I'm just going to read here our mission statement, which is to preserve, enhance, and restore the quality of California's water resources and drinking water for the protection of the environment, public health, and all beneficial uses to ensure proper water resource allocation for efficient and benefit of present and future generations. And so since DWR went first, I would say the difference is we are more of the regulators. And so we regulate water quality and drinking, and that includes drinking water. The drinking water program moved over to us in 2014. So we also have it also now. And so we do provide both the regulations. We also provide funding for water quality related projects, and we also do making sure that homes, all Californians receive safe and affordable drinking water. So we have both portfolios under our umbrella now, which is really exciting for someone like me who loves to dig into a lot of different subjects underneath water. So that includes also water recycling, stormwater, wastewater, drinking water, just everything. We have our State Water Resources Control Board, which develops policy and regulations. And then we also have 25 drinking water districts and 9 regional water quality control boards. So the regional water quality control boards are semi-autonomous. They also have boards of their own, which have 7 members. Our state water board has 5 members. And so it's I think we're about 2,500 people, so we are smaller than DWR. But then we are throughout California, a lot of offices throughout the state. We also when we're looking at our overall portfolio of jobs, not only just the jobs that are internal where we have our operator certification program, we have engineers, geologists, scientists. Also, we have analysts that work in our operator certification, who work in our HR, our public outreach, legislative affairs, attorneys, just a wide range of jobs that are within the Water Resource Control Board, but then also through our grant and loan program. It is also built in there where we also create jobs through that program. I was talking to one agency and they built in through it where not only are they complying with our requirements of fair wages, but then they also built in additional requirements to hire small businesses, small new businesses and local. And so they made sure that they were applying local companies and lifting them up. And a lot of them were local minority companies, to where they help them to create their company and then help them to learn how to go through the public bidding process. So that wouldn't be just their first public job, construction job, but then they could go on to bid on additional ones. So just really interesting of just all the different sectors that we're able to touch.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I'm working behind the curtain right now. It's something you take for granted all the time. Your water just comes to your house.
Or
There's
drinking out of a
so much
fountain,
going on.
right? That's right.
Carrie, can you tell us a little bit about Stantec?
Absolutely. So again, Carrie Shively. I'm a civil engineer. I've been working for about 30 years in the water industry, all of it for Stantec. See a lot of times somebody who's stayed their entire career at one place, but so Stantec is a global consultancy. We've got about 29,000 people worldwide, I think. We don't just serve water. We serve we serve buildings and lots of other aspects of engineering, design, and consulting, environmental services, things like that, mining, natural resources, energy. But our water business has about 5,000 employees globally. Much of that is in North America, where the company started. Our water business serves, I mean, it'd be hard for me to go through all the different disciplines and types of people that we hire, right? We have a lot of engineers like myself, but we have everything from economists and hydrologists, technologists, field personnel, lawyers, you name it. If it's got a nexus to water and how you plan, design, construct, and develop and operate water systems, we've got it. We've designed really large water projects like Panama Canal, all the way to operating treatment plants like the wastewater treatment plant out in the city of Lincoln, which we're the operators for. So a really wide range of different types of people that we look to pull in and get a really good diverse workforce.
Fabulous, thank you. Michelle, can you tell us about utilities?
Sure. City of Sacramento Department of Utilities. I'm the support services manager, as we said. Basically, my role is the liaison between our department and HR. Department of Utilities is about 600. We have about 600 positions, all serving, water, sewer, and drainage services for the city of Sacramento. So all the things that come with that. We have 2 water treatment plants, a lot of wells, the distribution system, levees, and all that things, and all the regulators all the engineers that keep us in order. So, and we have positions from, all of the things that were on Ebony's slide, all the skilled trades, electricians and plant and distribution operators, instrumentation, all that stuff. So, and engineers, of course, and all the other things like, support staff and finance.
Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna stay on you for just a moment for our next question, which is, what do you think about the labor market data that was presented from Ebony from the Center of Excellence? And did anything surprise you, or was anything different from what you expected to see?
It didn't really surprise me, but I was glad to see that we're not alone in the fact that we are having a really hard time finding electricians, instrumentation. The skilled trades are really hard to fill. So, yeah, it was pretty reflective of what we're seeing. So I thought that was very interesting.
And we'll make sure we integrate that comment about pulling some of those jobs out of the data that you were saying, so that Ebony can share with us the rationale behind that choice. Carrie, can I have you respond to that question about the LMI data? Did anything jump out at you?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it was pretty characteristic of what we're seeing. I see more the skilled trade side, right? Most of who we recruit is, people with a college degree. But I mean, we definitely see the impact of a lot of those numbers she was showing there. I was really surprised to see the number of women so low, because that is not necessarily reflected in the consulting industry at all. We're actually, in our company, we're about 50-50 at this point, after a lot of hard work. But I also was a little bit, I think, just to kind of add a little context to, the skilled trade side, and versus the engineering and, folks with a 4-year degree and above side. So, for example, the American Water Works Association, which is one of the largest, water associations in North America, they did a study in 2022. They went out and surveyed lots of employers, and this was, private industry, public entities, federal, state, local governments, about what their biggest challenges were in the water industry right now. And, you know, aging workforce was number 4 of the top 20, you know, issues. And talent, so finding talent, developing new talent to backfill and fill all the needed positions in the industry showed up as like number 10 on that list. And that was a list of all the top things that are on the minds of employers in terms of what is their biggest challenge, you know, and those were up there with things like recession and other, you know, other major issues. So workforce is definitely, you know, a huge component. It's a huge risk component, I think, you know, among all of our, you know, all of the work that we're doing.
I have to say, we were very pleased to have all women on the panel for this. We were pretty amazed by that. But so anyhow, just on the LMI data on that piece, we're saying Stantec has more representation than the LMI data shared. Nicole, can I have you respond to the labor market data presented, and did anything surprise you?
Yeah, I would say it didn't surprise me. I think it's, you know, what I've been seeing. Ramsey did bring that up earlier, just, you know, we've all kind of known that there's going to be this tide of retirements and just looking forward and wanting and needing to plan for it and understand that that's going to happen, and the need to get out and really spread the word about water jobs and bring more people into, you know, the industry. And I believe the slides somewhat reflected that, of it's, you know, it is coming. I think, I believe it just went through 2027. So I think it, you know, it was kind of the short near future. And I think, like, if we were to look a little bit further, you would see that demand like increasing more significantly of what the industry is going to be looking for in the future.
Do you think that's due to the retirement
Yes.
issue? Okay. Yeah. And Samantha?
Yeah, so I was not surprised. We know what the general trends are. One of the things I am responsible for is putting together workforce and succession plans for my department. So what we see with age is that currently 1 in 10 DWR employees is eligible for retirement right now, which means that they could do what's called like a rage retirement. You know, they have that one bad day and they just walk on down to CalPERS and they retire. And then in 5 years, that number jumps to 20%. So 1 in 5 DWR employees becomes eligible for retirement, roughly. And then in 10 years, 1 in 3 DWR employees, a third of our workforce in 10 years will be eligible for retirement. So we need to plan now. Ramsey, I love that your first link in that chain was creating interest. It is something that we do. It is one of the missions of our department is water education. So we go to, you know, STEM events, and there's expanding your horizons where it's getting girls into STEM careers in middle schools. But what I have observed, and you've probably experienced as well, is when I go to these events and I'm talking about the state water project and water conveyance and hydroelectric energy, across from me is NASA, right? They're shooting off rockets. And then next to me is, you know, the UC Davis School of Veterinary Medicine with animals that you can touch and feel. And so it's a challenge getting people interested in these careers, right? So colleges is definitely where we focus. Civil engineering is really important to us, but we hire all aspects, just like Stantec, crafts and trades, environmental scientists. We have a media department. We hire everybody, attorneys, you know, all of it. I'm happy to report that within my department, we also have a pretty 50-50 split between male and female workers. And our workforce is pretty indicative and representative of the general population of California, because we do own and operate facilities statewide. You know, there's only so many people who live in Los Banos, and that just happens to be where we have a plant. And so everyone there is going to work for DWR. So that really helps, you know, our numbers. But yeah, it's not surprising, but it's definitely because of that 10-year mark. We need to plan now for what we are going to look like in 10 years.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to ask Carrie this question to you first. How do you recruit candidates for employment? What general skill levels and educational attainment is Stantec looking for?
I do want to just hop on something you said, though, in terms of competition, right? Because I think that has a lot to do with recruitment and how we recruit. we're competing against NASA's, we're competing against Google, we're competing against Amazon. And we're competing against companies that traditionally didn't have a water workforce that are now actually starting to pay attention to water as an issue. And, you know, in the 2008 recession, we lost a lot of people from the water industry because the jobs weren't there. Revenues went down, we weren't building stuff, we weren't building water infrastructure, we were barely maintaining systems. We lost lots of people in that particular area. Post-pandemic, we saw a similar thing where we lost people from the water industry because they went to different types of jobs, jobs that are 100% remote, jobs that are in the tech industry, and jobs, you know, that are just different, right? People were exploring different things. And so that has really, in my mind, had a significant impact on how we recruit, and it sort of doubled down on the issue with retirements and, you know, and the aging workforce that we have. In terms of how we recruit, you know, we recruit from, you know, community colleges all the way up through universities. That's our primary, you know, places where we go. And that's because, you know, as a consulting firm, we mostly recruit folks with 4-year degrees up to PhDs. But, you know, we start our outreach engagement early, I think, just like everybody else here, right? You know, we do a lot of work with, you know, high school programs and with, you know, programs in community colleges to pull in interns and people that are interested, but maybe haven't had exposure, you know, haven't had someone in their family who works in the water industry where they can hear about the different types of jobs and that you could get, because it's a huge industry and there's many different places you can plug in. And, you know, internships, you know, what Ramsey was saying about, you know, that's incredibly important to our recruiting and our ability to recruit. You know, we have thousands of interns a year. We have internship programs that let them look at different, not just positions within water or whatever, wherever they happen to be hired, but get exposure to different aspects of the business so that they can find that right fit for them, right? And, you know, that's pretty critical. Trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to say on that. Skill levels, like I said, we are looking at mostly people with college degrees, but investments in things like scholarship programs. We're investing in people that are in community college and maybe just need that extra help to transfer to a 4-year college where they can then be successful. And then we can pull them in as an intern and then they can get full-time employment.
Michelle? Sure. Well, so our main competition would be the private industries. As a local government agency, our salaries aren't as competitive, but for advertising, we, you know, of course, do all the industry websites like AWWA, CWEA. We do have a contract with UEI, which is our internship program through Sac State. So we hire some interns. We do a lot of school outreach. We've done a lot more of that lately. Our department created this recruitment engagement committee. So it's like all the managers of the department are kind of joining forces to find places to go and talk about our jobs. So I recognize them from the school fair we just did a couple weeks ago. So we're trying to do more and more outreach. Generally, the city just posts on, you know, the city's website and it gets shared with the unions, but the departments, which is what I represent, is responsible for all the extra advertising and outreach and all that stuff. So very challenging.
Thank you. Nicole? Yeah, so we have a career webpage that we post on. All state agencies have to post through it. So we post there. We also try to get out to, we have actually a list of different career fairs that staff go out to. And we're getting better. We are getting more onto social media and pushing out job announcements there so that we can reach, we really try to take a look at, well, where do people go to find jobs? If you're not, you know, there's those that know to look and how to sign up for state jobs and to look, but not everyone does. So how do we reach a wider audience and push out our jobs? And so we've taken a look at that and come up with, you know, a couple of different sites to post jobs on. But one of the things we really recognized was need to get out more on social media. And so getting jobs, whether it's on X or on Twitter, or getting out on LinkedIn, or, you know, some of the other places where we can get new recruits. And so we're doing a much better job of that. Also getting out to the different local colleges and schools, because we do also have entry-level positions such as scientific aides, where while it's a limited position where you can only work so many hours, you only need 9 units of science to get into the position. And then also engineering students, so that you do have to be enrolled in an engineering program, but still we're always posting these types of positions where they're entry-level positions. You can get into the water boards, get into the state, start learning about our programs, and most of the time you do end up being hired on to a full-time position. So getting those out, and then just looking at, you know, other positions we have are the analyst series, where you need like a 12th grade education equivalency and then 4 years of experience in another area such as, well, I should say in an area such as technical, clerical, customer service. And so there's other entry points into, you know, the water board, into water jobs, because as we've been discussing, it's not just about these the 4-year degree of having to be an engineer or graduating with a science degree. And so we have people who are in our operator certification program who actually used to be, well, an operator. And they said, you know, hey, I kind of want to switch. I want to get into more of an office type role. And so they've applied and come into our operator certification program, and now they're working within the program. So they're able to take that knowledge and transfer it over, and now are working for us in a different capacity. And so the different types, you know, of education, I think it's broad. It really is not limited at all.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great to get that kind of illustration.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you've got 3 public agencies here and then 1 private. We cannot recruit based on salary, right? So when you're a public agency, you have to recruit based on purpose and mission, because we are civil servants. We serve California. And so how do we recruit? Well, we meet job seekers where we're at. What do job seekers want? I saw a stat the other day that 48% of job seekers today will find their next position on social media. 48%, right? So we're moving past like post and pray. That's not going to work. In 2008, it maybe worked because you had people who were grossly overqualified for their positions, right? But now that is not going to work. Job seekers will live at home with mom and dad before they will work a job that they do not want, right? So what can we offer them? We offer them work-life balance. We offer them upward mobility. We try to drive home our mission. This is hard work. We serve the people of California. When I think about Department of Water Resources, we talk about, we've got the best science. We've got amazing civil infrastructure projects. Like, that's exciting work. Come do that for us. That's what we can offer you. It's really interesting. When I first took over my position 1.5 years ago, I was given 1.5 recruiter positions. It was like, this is 1.5 recruiters. This is like nothing. We went to like 8 career fairs a year. Like, this is not going to work. So what we did instead is we launched what we call the Recruitment Ambassadors Program, where we trained all 3,500 DWR employees to be recruitment ambassadors, because anyone can give the 15-minute elevator spiel about how to get a state job. What job seekers want to know is, what does your day look like as an engineering geologist? What do you do as a salmon specialist? What would that entail for me? What does my day look like? Can I see myself working in that office or with this team? So having people in those actual jobs go to recruitment events and talk about their day and talk about their work and talk about the average retention for a DWR employee is 10 years. So people give us a decade of their life. That's pretty good compared to, you know, other public and private entities. So because we have such good retention, we have a good company culture, those are the types of things that we have to go out and we have to use as recruitment tools. We also have things that we're trying to do, you know, get on social media. We've got Virtual Recruiter, where it's not enough to watch a webinar on how to get a state job. I think I saw a stat the other day, it was on Indeed, that 60% of job seekers will abandon the application process if it is too lengthy. Okay? So we have to make it easy. The best way to make it easy is through one-on-one contact with a job seeker. So to do that, we have virtual recruiters. That is, you go onto the website, you schedule yourself an appointment, and then you have your lunch hour Teams call with a recruiter on the other end who is sharing their screen, going over your application and resume, helping you tailor it, finding state exams that you can take, helping you take them, doing interview prep with you, and guiding you through so that that job seeker can get a permanent appointment. It's got to be hands-on. We cannot be passive anymore. We have to have a more proactive approach towards recruitment. It's what it is. And then the California Natural Resources Agency has a state-of-the-art brick and mortar building downtown. That's a recruitment center. It's open Tuesdays and Thursdays. People drop in. We've got computers. We've got a kids center. We've got recruiters on site to help you with anything that you need. You don't have to work for a Natural Resources Agency. We will just help you in general on how to get a state job. It's good for all of us. So being more proactive has been our approach. And we'll find out if it's working.
Sometimes just applying for a state job is really complicated.
It's really complicated. And you mentioned risk earlier, and I'll just mention one more thing. In 2022, the California Department of Human Resources conducted a study on what the greatest risk to government operations was going to be. It was not budget. It was not outdated technology, which is synonymous with the state, right? It was the workforce. We do not have the right people in the right positions. There is a skills gap, and it is the greatest risk to government operations right now.
Yeah, and that's what we're here to emphasize, honestly. With
Right,
all of
sorry.
these no, honestly, with a lot of these advisories, there's all the demand that's coming, and then the awards that have been, given in the area, in the jobs, in the jobs that we need to have,
Yes.
in the future. So, yeah. You're here. So Nicole, I'm going to have you answer this question. What positions do you have the most difficulty filling? What skills gap do you frequently see from applicants?
So I would say that. Engineers, and then our other one is that we actually have a hard time finding people in accounting. So those are the two that continuously are up there right now. Actually, when I looked this morning, we actually have our fewest that I've seen in a long time of jobs available, but I'm sure that's about to pop back up to be, it's only at 30 right now. Usually we have over 50 jobs available, open at any time statewide, and just the skills, it's just, and this goes for all jobs, is clerical skills, just knowing how to use Word and Excel, communication. So just those, skill sets. So, and then when we go into like accounting, it is really that looking for those specific classes and courses for the accounting to transition into those specific jobs.
Excellent. Samantha, the question is, what positions do you have difficulty filling, and what skills gap do you frequently see from applicants?
Yeah, I'd say two positions that we have difficulty filling, crafts and trades. So a third of our workforce is crafts and trades. It's because that is training that you get on the job. You only get that type of experience by actually going into a plant and turning knobs and using tools. So you're not going to get that from school unless you go through a really robust apprenticeship program, which we have. But crafts and trades is really hard. And then engineering, water resources engineering specifically. Civil engineers, we say, are a dime a dozen. You're going to get lots of people who graduate with a degree in civil engineering, but do they know how to work in water? Do you know how to, calculate the flow of water through a channel, water civil infrastructure project, water flow through a hydroelectric plant? Water resources engineers, definitely, it's hard. It's advanced training. And so those are hard to fill. The skills gaps, I would say, are probably just highly specialized and technical knowledge that you only get through on-the-job training.
Right.
No.
Why those internships.
Those internships
Are
are
so
key. Mentorships,
Yes.
internships, coaching, job shadowing, volunteer opportunities. Get it, students, get it.
Carrie, I'm gonna have you answer this one. What positions do you have most difficulty filling?
Yeah, so similar to what Samantha said, yep, civil engineers, and I'm one of them, we're dime a dozen, but I am a water resources engineer by
Yes.
practice, right? And those are the ones that are hard to find. You're looking for people with, more specialized skills in things like water and wastewater treatment, water reuse, recycled water, which is huge, desalination technologies, water chemistry. Things that we can apply to some of those emerging challenges in the industry, like microplastics in water supplies, PFAS, PFAS, that's polyfluoroalkyl substances. Those specialty type, disciplines within water are critical. Also, like on the technology side, electrical engineers and particularly instrumentation and controls, INC skills are huge. Most of the operators of the large systems, in the United States are moving towards much more advanced operations and control systems and how they operate their systems, whether it be a single wastewater treatment plant or an entire system of, wet water flow for like the city of Atlanta. So we're looking for people with advanced knowledge in technology as well as engineering, right? So an understanding of water and the water industry, as well as, an understanding of, those operational control systems, AI, digital twins, how you can apply digital technology and how you can apply data analytics and algorithms to solving problems and to operating systems. That's huge, and there is not enough of those people out there at all.
Thank you. Michelle?
Same here. Instrumentation and technology is the hardest to fill for us. We have process control system specialists. We only have 4 positions of that, and those are like half vacant all the time. And finding people who are qualified for that is really, really hard. Instrumentation technicians are really hard for us to find, and they're really important in keeping the plants running and all of the things operating. Huge, running the SCADA system. Those are really hard to fill. Plant and distribution operators, those are hard to find as well because they need the certifications. Not so much in the drainage wastewater area, but definitely for the water certifications are hard to find, and we need those because you guys make us have those. It's important. So, and then of course the skilled trades are hard too, like the machinists and electricians. Partly because, you can make a whole lot of money when, in private industry, as an electrician, but not so much in the city, but it's still like Samantha said, it's about, being a civil servant and, giving water to your community. So that's what we kind of rely on too is, we're civil servants and, people turn on the drinking water and or turn on the faucet and their water comes in, and you're a part of that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, those skilled trades and particularly instrumentation and electrical is really hard to fill.
Thank you. Yeah, we all rely on it. We take it for granted, that water and all that goes into it. I do want to make sure we have plenty of time for questions, so I'm going to ask that we, move through the next questions a little bit faster, which the next one is, which we're kind of hinting at it with some of the other things that we were getting into, the desalination and things like that. But how do you see skills needed changing due to changing market dynamics? Michelle, I'm going to have you answer this one. So in terms of it could be policy or environmental technology or anything like that. So skills needed changing due to market dynamics.
Well, technology experience, even for the skilled trades people is important now because they're all having to do, enter their work into work order systems. They're having to read like GIS maps where before they used to have big giant map books. So, technical skills along with the technology skills are really important. That's how it's kind of grown. Is they need to be able to not just, fix the machinery, but also, identify what they did and record that in this computer system. So, yeah.
That's a whole new tech literacy. Yeah. big book too.
That's a quick talk.
Thank you. Carrie?
I'd say on the technology front, right, use of, advanced technologies, digital twins, predictive modeling, data analytics, AI. I'm not one who personally thinks that AI is going to replace all of our jobs, but it is going to fundamentally change the way we work. And having people who understand, are comfortable with new technologies and are adaptable and curious about applying them in different and new ways that we might not be doing now, I mean, is critical. We definitely look for people who are technology forward and want to, incorporate that into their career, regardless of what technical position they take in the company. They could be an environmental scientist or an engineer, it doesn't matter. Having kind of that, I think that discipline is important. And then on the other side, our ability to collect data and the data that we've collected has, increased 1,000-fold in the last 10 years. We don't collect megabytes of data, we collect, terabytes, I think it's called, or whatever it is. I forget what the next one above terabytes is, but 2 or 3 above those, right? We are data rich, information poor, and people who understand how to use technology and programming to get information out of all this wonderful data we've collected, whether it be from satellites or physical people or sensors. That is what we need. We don't need to collect more data. My gosh, we have too much, I think, already. What we need is people who can make sense of all that data and translate it into something that's actionable.
Thank you.
Cool. So I'm just going to add on and just say that also climate change. So being able to adapt and utilize data to understand the impacts of climate change, and then how to, I always use the example of when I learned engineering and the numbers and, hey, here are kind of my numbers that I use and this is good and this is how it goes. It's no longer all good. I have to now understand climate change and what area of the state am I working in and the different factors, and I have to adapt. And that's going to continue to occur as time continues.
Thank you.
I'll just say ditto.
Okay.
Interest of time.
Okay, okay, thank you. Yeah, if there's anything new, please, because we want to make sure we're giving everybody this up-to-date skill information. So, question number 6, Samantha, I'm gonna have you started. Do you provide any training in-house to current or prospective workers? I mean, you partner with community colleges to provide training.
Oh, yes. We have a very robust apprenticeship program, which hires people with just a high school diploma or California driver's license. And you go through a 3 or 4 year apprenticeship program. And when you graduate, you become a skilled crafts and trades worker. Really competitive pay. It's really awesome. Although PG&E keeps taking our people. That's okay. That's okay. So yeah, we do that. And then we do partner with community colleges. We're trying to do more with internships, and then working with another state agency called the California Conservation Board. If you've ever heard of them, they do a lot of, they're the people who keep us safe during like wildfires and floods. Giving them a path to permanent civil service is something that we just launched this year. And so we've got embedded interns now who now have a path towards permanent civil service. And it's a wonderful partnership. So yeah, we do take a lot of untrained or unskilled workers, and they grow up within the agency.
Yes, is that in Sacramento or is that statewide, the California Conservation Corps partnership?
Statewide. Our first intern is set to start in San Luis Field Division, which you don't know where that is, in Gustin, California, before the end of the year. And they're going to be trained as a junior engineering technician. And by the time they finish their internship, they will be on their path towards becoming a civil engineer.
That's great.
And so we have an in-house program for current employees. And so it's just the normal state training, but then we also have developed a wider leadership program where we provide additional training. And if you want to move up or go on a different path, you can choose a course path that can help you to progress in your career.
Michelle.
Sure. We do hire interns through UEI, like I mentioned. Most of them are in the engineering field, but a lot of us, we have some that are in plant operations, and some are like GIS interns and stuff. So that's one avenue that we have, interns. We have about probably 15 at any given time. we had an apprenticeship program that for our service worker series. That was actually, I brought a superintendent from, who started in that program and worked his way up. That's kind of on pause right now per the union, but that was a great avenue for people to get into the distribution field, water, sewer, and drainage. So that was an excellent program, but unfortunately it's on pause right now. We're praying that it comes back, because that was just a great avenue. And we also started years ago, a high school summer student program, similar to what was in a presentation up there by, I think it was Ebony. Valley Water, yeah. So every summer we bring in, and it varies, at one point it was like 24, but sometimes it's down to like 10 students. And we have them work in different areas in the department. So just so they can be familiar with what jobs are out there. They don't have any idea. So we do some high school outreach. But beyond that, that's sort of main like entry level stuff.
That's great. Thank you, Carrie. We rely mostly on like our internship programs, right? Most of our training is on the job. So we do that through internship programs at the high school all the way through the college level. We do also though partner with, large trade and professional organizations, American Water Works Association, Water Education Foundation, a lot of different groups out there that have programs, and we, help sponsor and support those, that are either doing outreach or training on, or providing, additional pathways for people to get into the industry.
That's great. I'm going to strike the last question because it's 3:28 and it's Friday. And I know people on Friday get a little wily at this hour. So I want to make sure that we address any questions that have come from the audience or online. We've got one right here.
Hillary, it's not so much of a question, but I'd like to, we've done some in-depth with Ebony and with the panelists as to the kinds of jobs and opportunities in the water industry. But I have a few that might not have been mentioned as much. Manufacturing, everybody's got to make those products that are used in the plants and in the businesses. Fleet management, transportation, logistics, governance, policy development, legislation, regulation, advocacy. We mentioned a little bit about communications, marketing, public relations. We've been in the IT, but cybersecurity in particular is an area. Laboratory analysts, conservation, water, energy, and land use. Also, in satellite imagery analysis, drone management, aerial and underwater drones. So there's a number of things that are perhaps not normally thought of in the water industry, but they are emerging areas, and certainly AI being another one of them.
Absolutely, an underwater drone, that just sounds so exciting. Thank you. Is there any other comments or questions to?
I had a quick comment. I can follow up on mine offline, but just want to thank you all for your time. We have different pathways, even manufacturing, the skilled trades. I had a question about whether you host any sort of career exploration visits for potential high school juniors and seniors. You can check in offline because I want to be mindful of time, but I'll be following up.
Number one initiative.
Yeah, we have a little bit of time. I think we can answer that. I think that would be good to hear. Do you guys have any?
Yeah, it is something that Department of Water Resources is interested in because again, one of our missions is water education, and we do have an office that is dedicated to K-12.
Excellent.
And we've got amazing resources on our website, but we do have people that come to the classroom. I'll give you my word.
Excellent. Yes.
Yeah, we are, happy to come out into classrooms, and if there are, as far as like coming in, I am more than happy to explore that of having, some, people come in to visit or, to check out what we do.
Yeah, many of our programs like that kind of slowed down or stopped during COVID, but we're getting them sort of back online again. And we often do them like jointly with clients, right? So that we can, for example, bring a group of students out to Folsom Van and they can talk with operators and they can talk with engineers who've worked on improvements, and they can kind of experience what, a bigger swath of what something is, but kind of in a tangible environment and things like that. So yeah, we're happy to organize those types of things, and we pull students into the office as well to just meet people and hear what's going on and ask questions.
We offer tours of our water treatment plant as well, and then we had come to your career fairs, but we would do smaller versions like that for a road show, just bring some equipment and show them what the people do with it. We have done that and we're open to that, so I'll give you my card too.
Yeah, 2 questions in the chat. See how you can ask them first. You want to?
Let's do the chat really quick, so make sure that everybody feels included. And so let's do some.
Yeah, it's from Sue Murphy for Nicole. What is the location of the SWRCB Job Center mentioned? So where are the job center mentioned for, spoke about
Where they
it?
posted.
Yeah, so they are posted at jobs.ca.gov. And if you go into the advanced search tool and you're under State Water Resources Control Board, that will take you to the jobs under the State Water Resources Control Board.
Perfect. I think this is for the general audience. Post-COVID work from home is more important than ever. Not responding to job applications personally is discouraging. HR department need to change. How can that happen quickly? That's like the general panel, I believe.
Can you repeat it?
Yeah, post-COVID work from home is more important than ever. Not responding to job applications personally is discouraging. HR department need to change. How can that happen quickly?
So personal responses to job apps. Is what I'm
People
hearing.
applying
for
for
jobs,
jobs, waiting,
they're not hearing back.
That's the
Is
question.
the person online? Maybe they can
Yeah.
ask it.
That's
Hey,
what I'm hearing.
Hey, Sue, you wanna go ahead and speak?
Sure. Thank you all very much. This has just been amazing to me, working from a utility that is constantly looking for different types of staffing. And one of the comments I hear frequently from young people starting out that I'm aware of is they never get any response from the HR department. You know, the HR departments are pretty overwhelmed, but those are potential employees. And if they come up with a negative impression of, you know, they don't even know if anybody even got their application, that I think it's a missed opportunity.
Yes, yeah.
We've definitely heard that as well, yeah, and it's hard, you're right, you get overwhelmed with lots of applicants. And if some of them slip through and don't get a response, that's problematic. You know, we do something similar to what you do at DWR in terms of having ambassadors. So that, you know, we prefer to meet people in person, either at job fairs or, working through student chapters at, colleges and universities, or just through networks and personal connections, just because then you do have you have a more tangible connection to work with, because you're right, that's hard.
Right, and we do teach our supervisors and managers to close the loop, right? You close the loop on the people who applied, thanks for applying, sorry you didn't get interviewed. For the people who interviewed, thank you for interviewing, you weren't the top candidate. For the people who just barely missed that opportunity, you give them a phone call and you tell them how they missed that opportunity. And you say, I encourage you to apply next time. Because it might not be their job, but it could be another job at DWR. We want to be an employer of choice, so close that loop. And not having time is not an excuse. Use Power Automate, figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hillary?
Right.
The question about where are jobs posted, I want to point out that Sue Murphy was just on the line, and I put together a number of links that will be provided as a part of the proceedings that have, CWEA was also mentioned by Ebony, but there's a number of them that I provided in the group, so you'll have them to look at.
Yeah, we'll make sure they get, so Stephen, do you want to introduce yourself really quick?
Stephen Garner with California and Nevada American Water Works Association. I'm the certification manager there.
So he's been helpful via email and sending links, and we didn't get it circulated, but we are going to send it with our follow-up materials after the advisory. I know we had one more question over here, and I want to make sure you get.
Yeah, hi, thanks again for putting this on. It's really great. So my name is John Conover. I work with the city of Sacramento. I started 24 years ago in the apprenticeship and now distribution superintendent, and now I'm hiring folks. And how do I attract those folks? One thing that I need to make sure that everyone here understands, and I'm sure most do, is that these skilled positions that we're talking about are not work from home. There's no telecommuting option. So they're 100% reporting to the job in the rain, in the snow, if you're up in higher elevations, in the heat. So how do you communicate that in a way that is attractive to those individuals. So, and then Michelle mentioned and others about the competitiveness with private. And so what we've done, and hopefully this is, maybe others are hearing this, that may be looking for that option, is we've introduced recently a alternate schedule. So we do a 4-10. So we're changing our operations, not changing the operation or the response to our emergencies, but we're allowing a 4-10 schedule and actually the flexibility to work that 4-10 or stay on the 5-8. So we're just being a little bit more flexible. They still have to come to work every day. And then the starting pay, or the pay, was one of the things. And we've adjusted some of our starting pay. We've developed tables. What is a salary justification? So now we're including a table with why we're trying to hit some of those higher steps, starting pays, because of market, because of the talent pool, because of retention. And it's justification if we're asked, why are we bringing employees in a little bit higher than we typically did 5-8 years ago. So just some things that I'm working on, the outreach. I find for myself and the skilled, the targeting the community colleges, targeting the high schools, the continuation school where I went. That is the type of folks that are not sure what they want to do. You don't need a degree for some of our skilled work, but you do need some on-the-job training, which gentleman here mentioned is important. So I have some homework to do. I'm going to reach out. There's a local group that I want to see how we can maybe develop a regional, for the Sacramento area, some type of apprentice program that we can all recognize and accept as a acceptable program for entry-level experience.
Yeah, that would be great. Is that employer level collaboration and that kind of consensus work around creating those access pathways are, so important for us solving these, major issues. But that said, in the interest of time, I'm going to get up and I feel like, anyway, but I want to also let everyone know here, thank you so much for coming. After this, we will send the slide deck. We will have report proceedings that you could share. We'll have key findings kind of listed out of all the information that we've gone over. We will send out, for those folks that have been willing to share their contact information, we'll send out a registration list. So if you are online or in person, we'll have those folks that are here that you can network with on continuing this conversation and building the connections where we can have this talent pipeline from our, our CTE programs and our community colleges on into employment. And that said, I just want to, again, we have our Livability Summit on Monday. We're never going to stop event busting here, but so if you want to join, we'll be there on Monday all day. And then I think we have another slide. If you could please fill out a survey, letting us know how this event served you or how we can improve, please let us know. And thank you so much for coming and spending your Friday afternoon with us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks to this lovely team. Thank you.
Oh, no. My role is different. So